Hello everybody and welcome to BambiPatterns. I'm so excited to make this dress. It is so versatile. Make it long, short. It's perfect for a summer day, a picnic somewhere with sandals. Dress it up with heels. Just change your accessories and you've got the look. It's got lightweight furniture print. You're going to measure the length of the top parts from your neck up to your underbust. To make the V neckline, is two methods. You can do it that way from your neck to where you want the V neckline to actually stop. Or alternatively, you can measure from your underbust area all the way up to where you want you want your V neckline to start. So in this way, mine was around 6 centimeters from my underbust area. The next measurement, we're going to measure from your neck all the way to your waist. So the waist is the smallest size of the middle section. Okay, so it's slightly above your belly button. You need to measure the length of your dress. So basically from your underbust or where the top part is going to end, you measure according to your desired length. We're going to measure the bust circumference, and we're also going to measure, which I have not included there, your waist circumference. So this is what you're going to use for your bottom skirt. So you can take your waist circumference and times it by 2 in order to create that beautiful shirring that's going to be done with the skirt. So I've got my fabric, which I've actually folded in 2, and now I am measuring from the edge. I'm measuring 1 centimeters in. So that 1 centimeters will be the seam allowance that will be sewn to the top part. And from that 1 centimeter, I am measuring another 1 centimeters downward. That will be the first line of the shirring. You will need 9 lines of shirring. So there will be 9 lines that you're going to do from the first one, and they are 1 centimeters apart. I folded the fabric to just make it easier for me to actually draw the first line, but this line will be extended to the other side of the fabric. And let's start sewing. As you can see, the more it shrinks, the more I need to try and pull it apart. It's looking so great. Now we're going to actually join the sides, and the side seam there is 1 centimeters that you're going to actually sew together. There we go, the sewing, showing you each process or as much as I can anyway. Right, and don't forget to overlock as soon as you do your side seam. Overlock, and also overlock your hem. Thereafter, we are measuring 1.5 centimeters inward, and that will be our hem allowance, and we will sew this. And look at that, within a few minutes you've already done the bottom part that can actually be worn as a skirt if you wanted. It looks beautiful. Don't forget to press your seam allowances, and for the shirring, seam above as I'm demonstrating there, and it will give you even the most beautiful shirring effect. Now for the top part, so the back pattern is going to also be used to help us make the front pattern. So it will be circumference of the skirt plus 2 centimeters seam allowance. We take piece of paper that we're going to fold in half. The length is the neck that you measured up to where you wanted the top to be, which is under your bust. So that will be the length. Add 1 centimeter seam allowance at the bottom and 1 centimeter seam allowance at the top. So if the length was 30 centimeters, you're going to measure 32. The circumference of the bottom part is your skirt circumference, half it, because this is only half the pattern. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to now take your measurement from the neck all the way to the waist. You're going to divide that by 2. So for example, 40 centimeters, you're dividing it by 2, you get 20 centimeters. So the red dotted lines that's going horizontally, is a measurement from the top all the way down, and that is 20 centimeters. To measure line B, where the armhole is going to be, went in 6 centimeters. The calculation, you take your bust circumference, you divide it by 2, you get your first subtotal, which is 46 centimeters, for example. Then you take that subtotal, you divide it by 5, you get your second subtotal, and then you add 1.5 to it. The third total will be 10.7 centimeters, and you divide that by 2, and it gives you what you're going to move in from the side. 6 centimeters in, and then drew in the armhole. Top part of the back, we're going to sew like your biggest stitch, and then we're going to gather it. For half of it, you're actually only gathering up to 11 centimeters. So you're going to gather until it's 11, but for the full, if we open the whole pattern, it will then be 22 centimeters. But we will get to that later on. Once we're done, we place it on our fabric. We fold the fabric, we cut it out. We're going to use the other half of the back to extend and create the front, because we've already got the measurement. So basically you're going to cut it, so the one side of the pattern. Now what we need is extra paper. I do not throw paper away. I just like to make sure I use all pattern paper as much as I can, not to have to use new ones. So just joining it, and top part of the front, which creates the halter neck, is being extended by 17 centimeters. The extension from where the back is without a seam allowance is 16. Add the seam allowance of 1 centimeter to join the neck portion of the front. Thereafter, you're going to measure from the bottom where you want the dip, where your v-neckline needs to start. Mine is 6 centimeters from the bottom, excluding the seam allowance, right? So if I had to include the bottom seam allowance, it will be 7 centimeters from the bottom. Next, now the shoulder side. So you're going to extend your underarm to create the back part of the front, and from the side of the underarm that you've just extended, you're going to go in by 22 centimeters. Cut out your front pattern. So remember, the seam allowances for the front will be the top. The neckline will be joined, so it will require 1 centimeter seam allowance, and the bottom part will require 1 centimeter seam allowance because you're joining the bottom through to your skirt. There is no seam allowance on the underarm because we're going to roll it on our overlocker or serger. There are no seam allowance on the underarm of the back because we're going to roll it together with the front. I'd like to hear how this dress turns out for you once you make it. You can leave a comment of how you prefer it. Do you prefer it long or short? Do you prefer wearing it heels or not? And where do you see yourself wearing this dress or the different version of it? To join the front part, the neckline, we're actually going to use the elastic thread to create that beautiful like gathered look. You're going to sew your back neckline, gather it so that it becomes 22 centimeters. So take your bobbin thread and pull it. So from the center back, it measures 11 one side and 11 the other side. Time to join the dress together. You can see now that's the back piece. I've done the gathering. Going to roll the back. We're going to roll the armhole from the front all the way to the back. Roll the V neckline using your overlocker or your serger. And now I'm going to sew the back to the front. So you can see I've taken the back, I've looped it inside the front. So the center back, I joined it through to the center front neckline side. Okay, so center back of back, center front of the neckline, join them together. And now I'm just spinning. And because the back is gathered, so it will be 11 pinned on this side, centimeters, and 11 pins, so meaning 22 centimeters altogether. There we go, pin, pin. So we can actually now sew them. This is very exciting because it means we are nearly there. There's still a little small part to do, which is what actually makes the dress look different. That will actually be added also. So once you actually finish sewing, we're going to just make sure the V neckline is looking proper. So we're going to measure from the top. You're measuring 2.5 centimeters down and 0.5 in, and you're just gonna sew that small little angle. And now this is the key to everything. And this small little piece is what you will sew where you've actually fixed your V neckline, whether it's for yourself or as a gift for somebody. See you next time.